All right.
live. We are live. Hey.
And it is finally Friday.
Hey, Julie. Hey, I don't want to pronounce. I don't want to butcher your name.
All right.
Okay.
All right, Margaret. All right.
Yes.
I'm your girl, Liza, Hameline, down in North Texas, in Dallas County.
A single woman. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, because Liza, she has a lot of energy, and I saw her on was that Walter's show?
Yeah. Well, on Walter's Live. Yeah.
I could feel your energy from Alaska. I got to talk to her. We got to have a conversation. Hi, Maurice. Hi, Marilana. Okay, I didn't want to. Okay, yeah. What's up, homies? Thank you all for coming. Okay, Lisa got a lot to say. She got a lot of fire in her soul. Because we was having a Zoom call. I was like, let's go live, girl. And
she just goes, let's get on now. I was like, yeah, because what's the coalition called?
Pissed off, okay? We are pissed off, and we're going to talk about it today with Lisa here. She's going to give us the 411, okay? Because whatever happened in Texas is eventually going to affect us all, okay? So we need to be informed, okay? Be informed.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get this started. It was impromptu because she had something to say, and we want to get it out to the world, okay?
You got to strike while the iron's hot, because you know that man who is occupying the White House will continue to try to distract, to try and start another war, to distract from everything that's going on. And I'm telling you that what happened in Dallas County on Tuesday will happen in November. It will be worse. They are coming for our vote. And if you don't think what is happening right now, when our Attorney General, who is on the Republican ballot to be the next senator from Texas, shuts down Dallas's polling sites after absolute chaos that was manufactured by the Dallas GOP, the Texas GOP, that was further hurt by the Republican Secretary of State by publishing the wrong precincts. I can go on and on and on. And then Donald Trump says, okay, I'm going to anoint somebody. And then the other one of y'all is going to drop out. And Ken Paxton said, if you pass the SAVE Act, then I'll drop out. You know what that means? They're coming for our right to vote.
I have to find where my birth certificate is. You know, these things are crazy. Because I had got the real ID, okay? Thankfully, okay, but now I need to go back and look at what's the dates on my passport, because I think that my passport is going to be expiring next year.
So is mine. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Right? And they're going to make it harder to get a passport. And guess what? When you need a passport or a certified copy of your birth certificate to vote, you know what that is called? A poll tax.
Tell us more about that.
Because when you have to pay to get something in order to register to vote, that is called a poll tax. And the only reason that Texas was able to institute the worst voter suppression bills in the country in 2021, we have the strictest voter ID requirements in the country, was that the Supreme Court in 2021 said, okay, Texas, you can institute voter ID, but you have to be able to offer a free option to get an ID. There is currently not a free option to get a certified copy of your birth certificate or a passport. I don't see any funding in the SAVE Act to allocate for free copies of your birth certificate or your passport.
Let me ask you this question. I'm glad you mentioned that because I was adopted, okay? My mother gave me away when I was 3 years old. So I was adopted to get my father's last name. So I don't have an original, per se, birth certificate. I just have this certificate saying, okay, this was, this happened at this particular time. So what happens? Or if you remarry or something.
And the problem happens is not where you are right now. It's when you move, right? And so in Texas, we have, right, this big, giant metropolitan area called North Texas. It is the fourth largest metropolitan area in the country. Now, Houston is bigger than Dallas, right, as a city. But the Dallas metropolitan area is the largest in Texas. But it is 4 urban counties and about 6 collar counties. And we move all over all the time. And every time you move, you have to update you have to update your voter registration. Well, the problem with the SAVE Act is that it's in the update, where they're now then going to say, so it'd be new registrations and updates. And that's going to be a problem. You move from New York to Texas and you have to register, then it would happen. This is why it's problematic. And, right, they instituted voter ID, and the Texas Republicans put into our state constitution just this past November, shifting the burden from the Secretary of State to prove that you're not a citizen to the individual having to prove that they are a citizen to vote. That's a problem. We haven't seen how that's going to play out yet, but it's going to. This is all happening. This is all part of the white supremacist playbook to ensure that Black women cannot vote, Latina women cannot vote, and white women cannot vote come November. And what you saw in Dallas with the precinct level voting, when they changed our precincts, Donald Trump asked for 5 more seats. That meant when they re-gerrymandered us mid-decade, and that went up to the courts and it got struck down, and then Samuel Alito said, oh, of course you can gerrymander. That on December 4th in Dallas County and all across the state, people had to, our legislators had to redraw our precincts because Donald Trump's chosen map drawer, who was served as an expert, right, in all these lawsuits, that he knows how to draw maps, deliberately drew the maps so that the new congressional lines, which, by the way, drew Julie Johnson out of her congressional seat, drew Jasmine Crockett out of her congressional seat, drew every single Texas Republican out of their congressional seat. Now, you don't have to live, this is a little fun fact, you don't have to actually live in your congressional district to run for that congressional seat. However, we kind of like our representatives to actually live in our community so that they actually can be accountable to the community, actually know what our community is about. But when you gerrymander like hell, right, you don't have representatives who actually represent the community.
It used to be that way, that you had to live in the district where you served.
Yeah, that is true for every single race except for Congress.
So they don't want term limits, okay? Because then that'll kick them out.
Yeah.
So that would never pass.
No. I mean, it's just right. They were trying to rink everything around. So they redistricted everything, forced our congressional reps to fight against each other, right? You're seeing that happen in Houston right now in CD 18. Sylvester Turner died in office. Greg Abbott refused to call the special election, finally called it. We had it in November. Then it went to a runoff. Then we had, the redistricting. And now you have Al Green and Christian Menefee running against each other. Those voters have voted on that congressional seat 6 times since November. It's why Julie Johnson is no longer in CD 33 and why Colin Allred, who was running for Senate, are now duking it out in CD 33. Right? We lost, where I live in the western part of Dallas County, we lost our Democratic rep. Mark Vesey the current congressional rep for CD 33, because they took that district that used to be a Dallas and Fort Worth district to now just be Dallas County, and he lives in Fort Worth.
How convenient.
How convenient. Yep. And then, right, the Dallas GOP said, oh, by the way, we're not going to do a joint primary. And that means that on election day, so we had these separate but equal lines. That was one story during early voting. I had Republicans coming into my polling site saying, why do I have to go over there, right? Because guess what? In Dallas County, when we outnumbered the Republicans 3-1, yet we had the same number of polling machines, the same number of workers, and the same number of ballot boxes, everything was the same. But one side of the room had lines and the other didn't. Even the Republicans were like, this looks icky. I don't like the way this looks. And they got outed, right? Because now all of your neighbors could see who's voting Republican, who's supporting pedophiles, who's supporting raping and killing children.
Well, they need to be outed, but still, common decency overall.
Common decency, right?
Yes.
Right? Our vote should be private.
Exactly. But I do want to know if I have pedophiles living in my neighborhood. And that's what we all should want to know.
Mm-hmm.
We have kids, we have grandkids. You know what I'm saying? You never know what's going on behind closed doors.
That's right. That's right.
I was abused. So we have to be cognizant of all these things. Who we put in the office.
No, but that's the issue, right? That's the issue, is that every day a new Republican church leader, school board member, right? They are all part of this Epstein class. Right? You want to know who's running for comptroller on the Republican side? You want to know who won their primary? It's a guy named Huffines. You know what he owns? Zorro Ranch in Arizona. That's Epstein's ranch where all the bodies are buried. That's who the Republicans in Texas are putting up for comptroller. You think you got it bad in the rest of the world? Just come to Texas. It's awful.
I used to live in El Paso, okay? I worked there when I lived there because I worked with the military. But it's not a place. It's not a place that I want to be. Okay, it's nothing there. It's nothing there. Okay.
Actually, I was in El Paso last year. It's actually quite nice now. Okay, it's a nice, vibrant, multicultural city, like so many cities in Texas. It's black and brown, and there are multiple languages spoken there. It's like a nice, happy place. Just like, right, our cities in Dallas and Houston and San Antonio, they're incredibly multicultural. Our communities are vibrant. Where I live in one of the most diverse zip codes. We have some of the best Indian, Pakistani, Nepalese food in the country. I have African languages spoken here. I have Arabic spoken here. I have Hindi spoken here. And I have Spanish spoken everywhere.
Melting pot.
We're just a big, happy community, right? And that's what you saw. There is a complete and utter attack on our Latino community and on our Christian Catholic churches when the Pope is coming out and saying this isn't right. What you saw on Tuesday was record numbers of Latina and Latino voters turning out and coming back to the Democratic Party.
Wow, because you and I talked about that earlier, because traditionally the Latino and they used to vote Republican.
Mm-hmm. But what happened?
Because the Christian values, That's right. That's how they pull you in. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So, but what's different is that Texas Democrats are fighters. We're fighters. And when the DC Democrats are doing absolutely nothing, Texas Democrats fled the state to protest the gerrymandering. Texas Democrats fight. We have a new Texas Democratic chair. His name is Kendall Scudder. He's young. He's got a beautiful, adorable young wife and a beautiful little baby boy. And he pledged that he would fill every single congressional race and every single House race in all 254 counties in the state of Texas, and he did that. The reason we had historic primary voting that outnumbered Republicans for the first time in 30 years. Texas Democrats outnumbered Republicans statewide for the first time in 30 years. And if Republicans, right, they're scared. They are really scared because that hasn't happened. But that's because we have Democrats in every single county running. Every single county. And while a lot of national attention was paid to our Senate race, and we had two incredible candidates, they both turned out a completely underserved coalition of voters that mainly included Black and Latino women. And some voted for Jasmine and some voted for Tellerico. But the point is, they turned out the vote, and primaries matter, right? Because it engages more voters. We are a huge ass state. You cannot do it if you just anoint king after king after king who won't turn out the vote in November.
Let me say this. Last year, 637,000 Black women lost their jobs. And so we had to show up, okay? Because if we don't show up for ourselves, who else going to do it?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
I don't know how many lost their jobs this year of the projections, because all these companies like Amazon, all these companies are removing people from their and replacing with AI and other tools.
Well, and the federal government, right? One of the largest employers of Black men and women, right, has been slashed. Our county governments, one of the largest employers of Black men and women, has been slashed.
I worked for the federal government for 39 years, and they pushed me out because they say, okay, I made $130,000 a year, but you wanted me to do all this work and accept all this gaslighting and passive aggression and manipulation and control. And so I said, I'm going to walk away because what you're paying me is not enough money to take all that crap. Okay.
No, and we're seeing that. Women are seeing that all over the place. This whole attempt to erase Black and brown women and white women from our places of work, from our schools, from our history books. And you know what? What you saw in Dallas County was a November electorate that showed up in March that was 75% female. We outnumbered Republicans 3-1, and our coalition was largely made up of females. 31% of the Democratic electorate in Dallas County was Black women.
Yes.
31%.
So let me ask you this question. How can we duplicate this in every freaking county in the United States? How can we duplicate that? You have the blue book, what do you call it? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Right. So this new coalition, the Pissed Off Coalition, is Black women, right? Your base. But we got to show up. And white women, I am talking to you right now. You better show up for your Black sisters. You better elevate them. You better listen to them. You better join them.
Yes.
Because they are tired. They are tired.
I'm beyond that. I'm fed up. I was pissed off. Okay, I told you yesterday that I had a video. Okay, we got to stand up. We got to take our power back. Okay, we run the household. Okay, so we are the backbone of this country. Nothing gets done without us.
And the Democratic Party will never win without Black women, and they better start appreciating Black women, listening to Black women, elevating Black women.
Yes, elevate. Elevate, okay? That's my theme for 2026. Let's go.
Yep. All right. So that's number one. Now, the hidden swing voter, right? The hidden swing, this is the quiet fury. This is white women. White women who may be historical Republicans, right? So since about 2016, white women with a college education have been voting Democrat, but only at like 55%. In Dallas County, white women were 26% of the primary, of the Democratic primary voter. 26%. Okay. There were lines where, because you had to choose which side, the woman came over to the Democratic side, her husband went over to the other side. Historically, she either stayed home and didn't vote in the primary, or she just joined her husband voting in the Republican primary, but then in November, she's voting Democrat. Well, that white woman is saying, I'm voting in the Democratic primary and I'm proud of it. So these, again, are November voters. These are November voters. Maybe they voted for Trump in 2016. Maybe they voted again. Maybe they even voted for Trump in 2024 because that's what their husband told him. But in Texas, they've had vouchers decimate their public schools. They have been told their vote doesn't matter. They have been told that they should just stay home. And they are tired. They are tired. And they are tired of seeing all of these legislators in Congress not listen to them and not listen to the victims who were targeted by Epstein and Trump.
And who knows who else?
Right? These are white women who are no longer being silent. And they showed up in Dallas County.
That's why I told you it was so important for you to come on and speak your truth today. And as many platforms that you can get in front of, the better. We need to wake people the hell up. Wake up.
Yep.
And smell the coffee. Okay?
No. And so white women now understand the assignment. They understand the assignment, and they showed up in our primary no matter how many places they sent us. White women were sent to multiple different voting sites on Tuesday, and they still voted. And then, right, Latina women, right? Latinas make up the Hispanic population in Texas. We are a majority minority state, right? Latinos make up over 50% of the population, but just like the white vote, right, they have been split. And because Democrats have not gone on Spanish radio, they have not gone in Spanish spaces, they have not run Spanish ads, they are not running Spanish candidates outside of the Rio Grande Valley, right? Now, there are people like Tallarico going to the Rio Grande Valley. There are people, we are running Latina candidates. Gina Hinojosa, in a 10-way primary, overwhelmingly won the statewide Democratic vote. Overwhelmingly. Right? Amy Martinez-Salas, who was unopposed in the Democratic primary for SD22, which is like a plus 39 Republican district, almost reached the same number of votes as the Republican. She missed it by 10,000 votes in a 12-county race where a Democrat hasn't run on the ballot, period, in 30 years. And she came within 10,000 votes of beating his primary number after spending zero money. No money. He has millions of dollars. She has no money. Yeah. And Latino men showed up and voted for Tallarico. You know what? The Republicans are saying, this is not going to translate into November. you know what I say? Be afraid. Be very afraid, because I know the voters who showed up in this primary. This was a November electorate. Dallas County turned out at almost 20% of the electorate. That is insane. We don't hit 20% margins in November of a midterm. Right? It's not we're coming up on a midterm, not a presidential race where you see 50, 60% turnout. We're talking about a midterm that hovers around 20% turnout. And we just hit that in the primary. Meanwhile, the Republicans had like 2% turnout in Dallas County.
Speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Yeah. Why? Because Republicans don't want to vote for the candidates that are on their ballot.
So, it is what it is. Now, let me ask you a question. About the reproductive rights, okay? We lost that Roe versus Wade, okay?
Oh, yeah. Honey, we lost that 18 months before the rest of the country. Like, yeah.
So, us taking our power back, if we turn the red to blue, then we can rewrite history. Okay?
That's right. That's right, because women are tired. We lost our reproductive rights in Texas 18 months before the rest of the country did. 18 months. Okay? Then they took away our public schools. The legislature rammed vouchers down our throats. Nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted it. Then West Texas billionaires came for our libraries, came for our city councils, and we said, hell no.
The commissions too.
Yeah. Right? They came and gerrymandered Alyssa Simmons who is, right? The commissioner's court in Texas is like the legislature of the county level. And Tarrant County is part of Dallas-Fort Worth. That's where Fort Worth is in North Texas. Tarrant County is ground zero for what is going to happen nationally. They are a very purpley county, right? They went for Biden, then they flipped back and went for Trump. But they actually went Democrat on this for the Senate in 2024, right? So that's the Trump effect on the ballot. Trump is not on the ballot in this November, right? Abbott, Patrick, maybe Ken Paxton, maybe John Cornyn, and a whole lot of really awful people are on their ballot. And we had Gina Hinojosa, and we have James Tallarico, right? We have Danny Minton in CD6, who outperformed Jake Elzy, our Republican congressman, who voted to strip women of their voting rights by voting for the SAVE Act. And has been not showing up for our community, has been holding passport fairs in Waxahachie while people are worried about how to put food on their table and where to get their VA care.
That's on purpose, okay? All right? But you can only run for so long, okay? Because people know where you live. You get letters and everything else. We have to utilize our power and hold their feet to the fire, okay? You said you're going to represent this district. Well, you represent this district or get the hell out.
That's right. And guess what? He got kind of screwed in the gerrymandering because we used to have 9 counties. Well, the gerrymander, right, actually made my little congressional district a nice, compact, suburban district that kind of looks the same with the exception of Navarro County, which is the only East Texas county that we still have, whose Democratic turnout increased by 155% on Tuesday and went 75% for Jasmine Crockett in the Senate race.
Let's talk about her. I really feel bad. It's not a surprise. But where do you see her career going at this point?
Well, First of all, she has been our fighter in North Texas. She has been my personal fighter because I'm in a gerrymandered Republican district who doesn't care about me. If I need something done, I call Jasmine Crockett's office and she gets it done. Her office gets shit done.
That's why they don't like her. That's why they don't like her, and because she's Black. I'm just telling them to call it like it is.
And she is a lawyer and she is a fighter, and that's why I voted for her. And that's why Dallas County overwhelmingly voted for her. And that's why they instituted this precinct level voting on us so that we couldn't vote for her. Because white women voted for her.
Wow. That was a setup. So what do you see happening down the road?
You know what? I hope she gets a big ass. First of all, she's already back in Washington.
Okay.
Deposing the crap out of these people, which she will continue to do until December 31st of next year. Right? She holds that seat until December 31st. And then what I hope she does is get on some big national platform like The View or some big ass platform so that she shows what a fighter she is. What I already know from her personally, because she was in Waxahachie. She was in Dallas County. She came to the polling site right next to mine during the election. She showed up for us, right? And I know she has already said she is showing up for our down ballot candidates this November because it does not matter. James Calorico cannot win this state by himself. Gina Hinojosa cannot win this state by herself. We have to work down ballot races because we have to raise the margins, not just in Dallas and Tarrant County, which has to turn out in record levels, which means that just because we're blue in Dallas County does not mean that consultants can just ignore us. You have to work the districts. And I bet you Jasmine Crockett is going to be right down in her CD30 where Pastor Freddie Haynes just won that, to make sure that district turns out in the same historic numbers it just turned out on Tuesday.
It seems like you need a coalition. Everybody needs to be working together instead of separately, okay, to defeat the opposition. I see Natasha K here. Hey, Natasha, come on in. I want her to come up here. She got something to say. Okay, I was looking for her. Okay, and I know she has a lot to say. Okay, and I want her to get in on this. Okay. Yes, I was just waiting for her arrival. Okay, she must have been reading my mind. Come on in, Natasha. I told Natasha K after I saw you on Walter, I was like, you need, maybe I told her about something. Like, you need to hook up with her, okay? She got a lot to say. And you know, Natasha used to work for, what's her name? Kamala Harris.
Oh. Well, then she said she's driving.
Oh, she said, I'm sorry. Okay, you know me. I'll just call you up here because she has a lot to say.
Well, she and I need to get together because I was, one of Kamala Harris's national delegates for my poor little gerrymandered CD6. That's how I won that race, right? Because I built a coalition of urban, suburban, exurban, and rural voters, right? Because I grew up in a little tiny town in upstate New York in the 80s. I know what it's like to be a rural voter, right? And now I live in a big, giant urban area. And what I know is that nobody was knocking on my door in the urban area and nobody was knocking on those rural doors. And so we went knocking. And that's why Ellis County in 2024 was one of the only counties in the entire country that got bluer.
Okay.
And that county overwhelmingly went for Jasmine, despite the fact that James Talarico has visited Ellis County multiple times. But Ellis County understood the assignment. We wanted a fighter. And so we voted for Jasmine. And she will continue to fight. I know she will. We have been, we have been talking with her. She has already said she is going to be here with us fighting on the ground.
I'm gonna call Will up here since Natasha can't. Okay, because this is Will's wheelhouse. Okay.
All right.
Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna call him up here. I called him before. Okay. He's probably gonna kill me. Oh, yeah. If Natasha gets free, she'll come up here too. Okay. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Come on, Will.
Yeah, he says.
Oh, he said he can't either. Oh, okay. All right. It's all good. That's all right. I love you too. Okay. It's all good. So we gonna continue. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, what you saw was absolutely horrificness in Dallas County, which had everything to do with Donald Trump demanding 5 more seats in the state of Texas to gerrymander us when we were gerrymandered in 2021 for the first time since Shelby versus Holder. That's a lawsuit that did away with the pre-clearance requirement of the Voting Rights Act. So in 2021, we were severely gerrymandered. That is still a lawsuit. I was taken out of, CD 24, which is in the north part of Dallas-Fort Worth, which if we had our 2020 numbers, we lost that 2024 seat by 2 points. And I can tell you why that happened. And it doesn't really matter now, except for that loss was a big fucking deal because it meant that there's a Republican in that seat who then said, take this city that I was mayor of out of my district because I don't want to answer to those voters anymore. And we got gerrymandered in 2021. And then, while that lawsuit is still going on, they gerrymandered us again this summer. We still don't have a ruling in the 2021 lawsuit.
How often can they do this gerrymandering?
Well, I guarantee you with numbers like this, they're going to gerrymander us after 2026. If we flip the state, they are going to do everything in their power to make sure that every 2 years, nobody knows what district they're in. And let me be really clear why this precinct level voting mattered. We have voter ID. People don't show up to the polls with their voter card anymore. They don't need it. It's all attached to our driver's license. All of it. Everything. You give them your driver's license, it pulls it up, it tells you what's going on. Right? If I have to look up a voter on the Secretary of State, I do it all by their driver's license. If they have I tell voters, hey, that's kind of like a receipt to show that your registration is current, which is actually kind of important because we have all these rules in effect that make it really easy for them to kick you off the rolls. Like if you don't vote in every election, like every municipal election, every runoff, like every single election. So if you only vote every 4 years in a presidential election and you've moved, you're not going to get to vote. Your vote is not going to count. Because if you don't constantly update your registration every time there's a vote and every time you move, your registration will be invalid.
Let me ask you a question, because I worked overseas, 16 years out of my 39-year stint with the military. We were sent absentee votes, where you can send it in. But I don't even know if it actually went in, because by the time I got it and by the time you return it, it's expired. So what does that say for people, Americans that live outside of the country?
Yeah, and that's a real problem because we have in Texas, very strict voter by mail rules. And it was compounded by the Trump changing the postmark deadline. So in Dallas County, in Texas, the mail-in ballot has to be received on election day. You don't get a grace period. And so this whole thing about if it's postmarked by election day doesn't actually work. They don't want you to vote.
Right? And one year I had heard that they threw a bunch of votes away. How can you legally do that?
No, and that happened in Dallas County. We had people that were in line But the problem is that they were in the wrong precinct. So normally, if you're in line when the polls close at 7, you get to vote like just a regular vote. You were in line. Well, the problem was they were in the wrong precinct because we haven't done precinct level voting in 9 years. Nobody knew what their precinct was because they gerrymandered us and changed our precincts in December. Literally 2 months before we started voting. The Secretary of State hadn't even updated the precincts.
Aren't you supposed to notify people of the district? I remember receiving a postcard.
Right. Well, that's your vote. That's your voter registration card. Except for that, if you aren't registered, right? If you've moved, then you didn't get it. Lots of people, some people, one person got it and the other people in the household didn't get it. Denton County had a whole problem with nobody getting their voter registration cards. I had people coming into the polls on election day because they started right towards the end of the day. You can tell what voters are talking about, right? So people started showing up with their voter registration cards so that we could identify their precinct. The problem is that they were voter registration cards from 2, 4, 5 years ago. And so unless you had the updated, brand new January 1, 2026 Dallas County voter card, it didn't have your right precinct on it.
How the hell are you supposed to know that? Oh, okay.
Alan West, the chair of the Dallas GOP, who's the one who caused a lot of this drama because he refused to hold a joint primary, which cost the county over $1 million.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. No, the parties are supposed to pay for that. And guess what? The Dallas Democrat, we don't have any money, right? We don't have any money. If he wanted it this way, he should have paid for it all. We didn't want to do that. But the Secretary of State, who's a Republican, who's controlled by the Republicans, said, sorry, Dallas Democrats, you might be having a primary, but we're going to make you play by the Republicans' rules.
Let me say something. As a civilian, even as a military a person, there's ethics, okay? And so I worked in government contracting. You don't write a check your ass can't cash, okay? And that's called Anti-Deficiency Act. You spending money that you don't have. Where's that money coming from? Where's the accountability?
Yeah,
okay?
That's the issue.
Responsibility.
Right? Oh, no. He caused this drama and he's blaming our elections, the Dallas Elections Office and the Dallas Democratic Party for how this was run. Oh, no, buddy. You caused this. You should pay for it.
You know what? That is classic narcissist. They flip the script and make you the victim or whatever. Say, oh, it was your fault. And then, what the hell are you talking about?
I've been screaming about this for 2 weeks. And Colonel West in the media told me to take a chill pill. Yeah. You want to know? Yeah. You want to know why there's a pissed off coalition? Because we are pissed off.
Right. Because then you're going to turn around and send the bill to us and say, guess what? How much this war going to cost? That you started, okay? This bully started all this shit. Who going to pay for it? How many, tell me, looking at the wars that have been created in this history, what would you say between the Republicans or the Democrats? I think the Republicans beat. Okay.
When you talk about lives lost, we've already lost 6 service members that we know of? 6. In a war that nobody asked for, nobody wanted?
Yeah, right. And I served 2 tours in Iraq. And they said that there was weapons of mass destruction, okay? And the last place I was at was in Tikrit, okay? And that's where they found Saddam held up in a hole. Where were the weapons of mass destruction? Do you know how much that war cost us?
That's right.
What was that? Somebody's payback just because you pissed somebody's off? So it's like, I'm going to come back and get you down the road, okay? And American public will just pay for that.
Yeah. No, from what I understand, like this goes back to Donald Trump being upset about Carter in the 1980s and not bombing Iran and like something like he's so in some other like I'm like, dude, it's 2026. Like nobody cares about what happened in 1980 anymore. But that was like he's like a bunch of people are like, yeah, we're not really seeing any justification for this war.
Okay, so all right, we lost our reproductive rights. Okay, what's next? Are they going to come after? I don't know if they're going to come after racial. You know.
No, the Voting Rights Act. Oh, they're coming for the Voting Rights Act. That's gone. That's gone. Right? LBJ, Texas governor, vice president, then president. Right? It was a Texas Democrat who got the Voting Rights Act passed. Has all but been eviscerated. And there is a case. It's Calais versus Louisiana or something like that hasn't been decided. It's coming. They gave us the tariff case because I know it's coming. Say goodbye to the Voting Rights Act. And when that happens, it is freewheeling gerrymandering because they can already legally gerrymander based on Democrats versus Republicans. And so instead of making policies that would make more people want to vote Republican, they're just making sure the Democrats can't vote and keep doing bad policies. And then they get to just decide where the lines are drawn. This is not representation. We are back to no representation, no taxation without representation. When we don't have representatives that represent our community, that is a violation of the Constitution.
Okay. All right. Well, what about the LGBTQ community? Because they've always been a doormat for the Republican Party. And from what I heard that most of the community voted Republican back in the day, especially for the military. Military always vote Republican. Okay.
Yeah, no, the military's not voting. Military's not voting. I mean, what we saw in Dallas County and what we saw all over the state of Texas is that there is a new coalition. It is a November voting coalition that came up and voted in the primaries. It is young. It is diverse. It is female. And they are voting. And they are voting in record numbers no matter what obstacles you put in front of them.
Lisa, I would suggest that you get on everybody's platform that's willing to have you out there because this coalition, this is grassroots, okay? And this is where we have to start here. Okay.
We have to. We cannot let them divide us into black and brown. We cannot let them divide us into black and white. We cannot let them divide us into male and female. We have to come together. We have to talk about the issues that unite us. And we have to start showing up, right? And this is an economic message, which is, right? These are people, Donald Trump is for the tech oligarchs and the Russian oligarchs. He is not for you.
Well, he's in the club. I guess they let him in the club, okay? Because he got all this power to all these codes, and he can push whatever button he wants to whenever he gets ready. So, okay, at the highest bidder, which country should we hit next?
Yep,
I'm just saying.
That's right. But that is our tax dollars. That is our tax dollars. That is our sons and daughters who are in the military. And that's the difference, right? When you gut our schools, when you gut our healthcare, when you try to take away our right to vote, when you take my daughter overseas and put her in a war zone, when you take my son overseas and put him in a war zone, when you are killing children at home and abroad, when you are taking babies from their mother's arms and putting them in detention centers in the state of Texas, that we don't know about, that we can't get information about.
Where are the children going? I don't even want to know. I mean, serious, it's just crazy. You know, you hear about these rich people buying children from Africa and all of these things. And it's like, they've got real seriously mental issues. They got
No, and
problems.
Trauma.
You're right. Right?
Trauma. We already saw this in Texas in the first Trump administration. They kept putting kids in cages. It was awful, and it's like in 2024, everybody forgot about that.
Wait a minute. Do you put your kids in cages? Really? You gonna put somebody else's kid in a cage, and what about your kids?
Yep.
Oh my God, this is sick. It is really, really sick. What? Okay, that's what I wanted to ask you. What about interracial marriage? They don't like that. Okay, and we know that one sitting up in the what's his name in the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Okay, he has an interracial marriage, so I know that he's gonna vote no on that. Okay.
Well, maybe not. I mean, he doesn't seem to think the rules apply to him. And I think and frankly, I think he's going to retire, right? Trump knows he's got it. I think he knows that Alito and Thomas are going to have to go because he's got to put somebody young and worse in place before Democrats take the Senate. Because guess what? Right? We don't have to confirm a single nominee.
Okay, that one, I despise him. He got the black hair. He said he was gonna make him. He said he was gonna make him put him on the
Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, our senator.
Yeah.
And guess what? I say go for it. Confirm him so that Jasmine Crockett can run for that Senate seat.
Okay,
go do it. We will readily support getting rid of Ted Cruz. I will even put him on the Supreme Court if it means he will no longer be in the state of Texas. And that we will have Jasmine Crockett in the Senate.
Okay, but having him on the Supreme Court is not good either.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes the devil that you know is better than the devil you don't know. Look at this new guy that they put up for Kristi Noem. We know who he is. He's from Oklahoma. He's a nutcase.
Well, you always put one of your own on there. You don't put nobody on there that you can't control. Okay?
Yeah. I mean, at least I know Ted Cruz is a piece of shit, right?
I remember when Donald Trump was running the first time, he talked about him like a dog. What did he call him? He called him something.
Well, we call him Cancun Cruz.
Okay, you want to talk about that?
No, that's because every time there's some disaster happens in Texas, he's in Mexico.
How convenient.
Yeah, no, it is. It just happened again. We just had some huge ass. Oh, because I was down in Padre. We had a Democratic meeting. I was down in Padre. I got stranded. We had this massive ice storm. I get stranded in Waxahachie for 2 days, which was great because I love Ellis County. And Cruz is in freaking Puerto Vallarta. You can't make this stuff up.
He probably owned property down there, girl. You know what I'm saying? He probably like, oh, I'm so stressed out. I need a margarita and a time away. I wish I had that choice.
Yeah.
I can run from my problems and just wait until it blow over and then come back like, oh, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
And did it on our dime. We paid for those trips. Okay.
Oh, the corruption. I mean, that's why you are seeing all of these. I mean, they're not even really Republicans anymore, but people who are probably not voting Republican in Texas in the presidential race, but are continuing to show up in the Republican primary. They finally just said, you know what? I can't do this anymore, and I'm showing up in the Democratic primary. I'm just gonna vote Democrat now. I heard that at the polls. I had to say, okay, Republicans over there, Democrats over here. Voter after, because I'm out in the suburbs, right? Voter after voter. Well, I used to be a Republican, but I can't vote for that shit anymore.
Okay, I don't know what Kool-Aid the people that was still voting for him is probably the white nationalists.
It's all Christian nationalism. That's what it is.
Remember before it was the Tea Party, okay?
Yeah. So, no. The Tea Party? Who are the best, fiercest fighting Democrats right now? Former Tea Partiers.
Okay. All right.
They know how to message. They have a freaking backbone. They know how to call shit out.
Okay.
Right? They're not the DC. If there is one thing that will make sure that we do not win in Texas is if the DC consultant class comes in and tries to run Tallarico's campaign or run Gina's campaign and does not do field and they spend all kinds of money on TV that nobody watches and are not running Spanish language and are not running a Spanish field campaign and are not getting on radio and are not going into non-traditional spaces like podcasts and Substacks and I don't know whatever other media that kids are doing that I don't understand. Are not going to college campuses and talking to kids about issues that matter. You can't just run against the sky is falling. It doesn't work.
Okay, maybe back in the day, when people was uneducated, okay, people are educated now, all right? And so I don't know who's running the campaign, who's making these type of decisions, but they're not very bright, obviously. It's okay.
I mean, you saw the consultant class get their butts handed to them in Dallas County.
Yeah, but what happened to that rule book? First, you come out with Project 2025, and I'm sure it was modified to be 2026, right?
They're still talking about the same shit. They're still talking about Sharia law and anti-trans and, the SAVE Act. And people are like, that's not what's happening right now. I can't. Everything's expensive.
Well, it's going to get even more expensive. You got that Hamout's China or whatever clothes, and then the gas, the prices of gas is going to continue.
Gas is going up, right? I mean, food, right? We can't go out anymore because it's too expensive. Buying groceries is too expensive. Fucking steaks are expensive.
I'm still going to eat. I don't give a damn. I'll just give up something else instead.
Yeah, I mean,
still going to eat my steak. Forget that.
Yeah, but
I mean, too much.
Yeah, but Trump ran on affordability and now is like, oh no, this is the best economy ever, and we're all seeing all of our 401ks are down, and we're losing our jobs, and manufacturing's down, and cars are more expensive.
Everything is fucking expensive. I'm like, damn, I got this big ass house. I'm like, maybe I could find somebody, we can do a co-house or whatever. I pay for this and you pay for this and pay for that. It's getting too damn expensive. And I wanted to move from my house, right? I had a 5-bedroom house. And the realtor told me, she said, I could put you into a smaller house, a 3-bedroom house. It's affordable.
Yeah, and it's going to cost the same.
That's what she's saying. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to stay where I'm at.
I know. I need new windows. My windows are literally being held together with duct tape. It's good it doesn't rain a whole lot here.
I can't afford it. Period.
No, to put new windows in my house is going to cost as much as my kid's house.
Okay, I did put in the basement. I put 3 new windows in, and it cost me $12,000 for three. What you call them? Anderson windows. Okay, and it's like, okay, but I had to have those windows in there because if I move, and because the windows cut like this, okay?
Right.
And if a fire break out, can't nobody get through a window that size, right? And it's one of those old crank windows. I like, screw it. I just paid $12,000 for those 3. And so if I go and sell this house, people want all this money for the house. You're only going to get what the house is worth in the area, okay?
Yeah. No, and in the state of Texas, we don't have an income tax. Our property taxes are through the roof. All of the appraised value of our houses has all gone through the roof. And so nobody can get out of their house. We're paying more taxes. And why are we paying more taxes? Because they passed this damn voucher program. So our tax dollars are going to some private school or some homeschool kid when they're really putting a hot tub in their backyard. And the county can't, right? And they refuse to expand Medicaid. And so our county hospitals are overrun, right? And now they've gutted the ACA subsidies. And so people don't have health care because who uses the ACA more than any other state in the union? Texas.
And look at what they did with SNAP. They got rid of SNAP, okay, and it benefited Walmart because they was paying all these people under the amount, whatever is what you call it,
the federal poverty level. Yeah.
Right. And they said, well, we're going to give you SNAP instead to supplement the difference. And most of these people that are on SNAP are like handicapped. Okay.
Right. They can't work.
Challenged.
Yeah.
Right.
They can't work.
And so you cut that off.
No, I saw last summer, I was hearing from Republican white women in Navarro County how pissed off they were about the cuts to the Department of Agriculture because their churches got SNAP benefits during the summer to feed kids breakfast, lunch, and a snack that they weren't getting at school. And they were pissed off because the funding got pulled from their program.
I'd be pissed off too, because you know how much brain damage you can get from not having nutritious food.
Yeah.
Okay.
You wonder why the Democratic vote in Navarro County was up 155%? It's because you cut funding for programs that white women think are good.
They didn't even ask. They just cut the shit. And so Walmart should have been pissed off because they was benefiting off of that. So what did they do with those people instead? You're not gonna supplement their income since they no longer have SNAP?
Yeah. No, then people are going to go hungry. And when they go hungry, then they get sick. And then they don't have health insurance, so they don't go to the doctor. So then they got to show up at the county hospital. And guess what? When people are hungry and sick and tired and upset and feel like everything is rigged, crime goes up.
Yeah, right. And then they looking at in our cars and all the things that we have, and we become targets. Okay.
Yeah.
She's coming out with her groceries. There's go her purse. Then they're gonna come and grab your purse. Okay. Then we become, and then you see people start carrying their guns, and they're like, okay, well, I have to protect myself because people are gonna come for me now, and then they're gonna cause even more deaths that way. Okay. So.
No, it's chaos. It is all about instituting chaos. This is strategic. It is intentional. They are trying to take away everything that we as Americans hold dear. They are trying to make the American dream absolutely impossible. The game was always rigged. Now we can see it in plain sight.
Exactly. Yeah, so Lisa, where do we go from here?
Well, you got to get out and vote. It means that if you are in a blue state, you better find out who your precinct chair is. And if you don't know what a precinct chair is, that is the local person who is responsible for your neighborhood at your local county Democratic Party. And you better figure out who that is. And if there isn't one, then that person should probably be you. Because it is going to take turning out the vote in every single blue state. Not right. Some of these states like Portland, Washington, that are blue, but right outside of Seattle or Portland, they're red. You have to start talking to those red counties. If you are a Democrat in a red county, get involved. Start talking to your neighbors. Be unapologetically proud to be on the side of working folks, to be on the side of civil rights, to be on the side of Texas Democrats who fight. You can be a Texas Democrat in any state in this union. You can fight against tyranny and obstruction. You can fight for our schools, for our health care, for our civil rights, for our human rights, for our right to vote. Because what they did in Dallas County, they were trying to take away our right to vote.
Let me ask you this: what about if you're Republican, you want to vote Democrat and vice versa? Can you easily do that now with any problems?
Well, it depends on the state, but in the state of Texas, we have an open primary, right? And part of the reason that you saw the numbers happen is that for years, like, we are not a Republican state. We are a non-voting state. So if you were so gerrymandered, like I have been in the suburbs of a very blue county, right? The Democrat is always going to win on the county level. The Republican is always going to win on the congressional and state level. Why does my vote matter? Well, when you run candidates in every single race, when you run primaries against Democrats in blue counties, it makes people come out and vote. It makes their vote matter. If you run Democrats in every single race in red counties, whether or not they're going to win, that is not the goal. The goal is to make sure that Democrats in those counties have someone to vote for. And then 2 years later, you can run candidates again. And pretty soon your margins start going up and up and up. Because you know what's going to happen in November? You know who got the most votes in Ellis County out of any candidate? The Commissioner Court 4 Democrat. Her name is Dr. OJ. She was born in Africa. She lives in America. She's a U.S. citizen. She is running, and I guarantee you she will be the first Democrat elected to the Commissioner's Court in Ellis County in 30 years.
Okay, that's great, because I know ever since Obama was running, they always kept talking about his birth certificate and he was born in Hawaii, trying to. Okay, yeah. So
yeah, you can't do that in Texas. We've got so much multicultural. Shoot, Ted Cruz wasn't born in America. Like, I mean, yeah.
Okay, so if they start questioning that, which they probably will soon, it's going to be a lot of people going to be leaving here. They're like, well, okay, you have to go back to Africa. Well, hey, I didn't come from Africa, even though my ancestors did. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No. Go try that. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, they've done so much garbage right now. What you just saw was people just going, okay, what the hell are you doing? Because what Republicans saw in Dallas County, it was so blatant. The separate but equal was so blatant because Democrats were outvoting Republicans 3-1. Yet we had the same amount of equipment. It just looked really icky, and it made people feel icky. And Republicans were like, I am not voting for that. And they got in our line. So in the state of Texas, we're going to have a runoff. We have some statewide runoffs. In some of the bigger counties, there are county-wide runoffs. If you were a Republican and you were pissed off, if you didn't vote in the Republican primary, you can vote in the Democratic runoff. You can. If you are a Democrat who didn't realize how important this vote was and you just didn't vote, you can vote in the Democratic runoff. And guess what? We've got some city council races and school board races, and you need to vote in those. If you vote every presidential election because you think that's what matters, then start voting in your local races.
That's what mattered most, right? Definitely on a local level. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna tell you one of the reasons I was in Israel before I came to Alaska. And the reason why I decided to move to Alaska, because they pay you to live here. Okay, that year we got $3,200. Okay, for living in Alaska. The only requirement is that you have to remain in Alaska 6 months and 1 day. Okay. Yeah. Last year when Trump was elected, it went down to $1,000. From 3,200 to 1,000. I'm like, living in Alaska is really not that appealing anymore. Okay. Right.
Okay. Yeah, of course, you've got a pretty exciting senator race there.
Okay, I remember when what's her name? Caitlin. Okay, she was something else.
No. But you've got what's her name? Palante. She's her Democratic candidate for Senate. Mary.
Oh, Patola or whatever.
Patola, yeah.
Yeah. I hope she win. Okay, she's a fighter.
Yeah, okay. No, she's a fighter. No, y'all have the chance to have a Democratic senator. You have a better chance of having a Democratic senator than we do.
I believe it when I see it. Okay.
No, hey, it's just about getting out the vote. And Alaska, frankly, I know that's crazy, but Y'all don't, right? I got 1.4 million voters in Dallas County alone. I'm not sure you have 1.4 million voters, period.
We have more land than we have.
Yeah. Right. So it's not that hard. Make some phone calls.
Okay, all right. I'm a coach now, so I help leaders like yourself. Okay, figure things out. Okay, so you can reach your desired outcome. Okay,
that's right. Right. I'm telling you, right. My vote total in a countywide race in Dallas County is higher than a congressional race for the state of Texas.
Why don't you run?
Yeah. No, if it was 30 years ago and I was just starting out, but I like what I'm doing. I like organizing. I like talking to voters. If I could work elections every single day, I could. I like talking to voters more than anything in the world. Right. People always say, well, Liza, we need you doing something else. Right. Because I just worked this election and it took a lot. I haven't worked an election that was this hard since 2020 when we were in the middle of a global pandemic. It was exhausting, and it didn't have to be. It was completely manufactured.
Well, we can stay.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, but I'm saying, right, you have to keep that momentum going. People have to see what this election just told people in Dallas County, how important your vote is. You have to treat every single vote in every single race like it is the most important vote of your life. And that's why we have to have candidates starting to talk about why that race is important, not explaining it, right? Talking to voters directly about how what you do in that office affects their lives and listening to voters, right? I'm telling you, you call the voters in Alaska and they will tell you shit is too expensive. It is too hard.
I can tell you that. Okay.
So what's Mary going to do about it? Right? That's her job. She better be able to tell every single Alaska voter what she is going to do about it when she goes to Washington. Not how she's going to fight Donald Trump. Yes, that's going to be part of it. But what is she also going to do? What is she going to try to ensure?
Yeah, because her Republican counterpart sold us out last time because her father was in office. So that's how she got that role because her father died, so she took it over. It was grandfathered to her. Okay, but she sold out the people for Donald Trump because he probably told her it's me or the highway. What you
Well, and it is, and I'm sorry if you are beholden to a consultant or to somebody else, to a West Texas billionaire, to a consultant, to a lobbying group, and not to your voters, then you need to lose your job.
You can tell a sellout real quick. It's like they flipped the script. Like, I thought you was representing us. You was gonna do this, but you did that instead. They're not gonna tell you why. They compromise.
No, okay. But that's right. So it takes everybody. Not only does it take recruiting good candidates and knocking on doors, but it means showing up for town halls of your representatives, writing your representatives, asking your representatives, telling your representatives what you want.
And they're supposed to answer.
And when they don't, then you call them out.
Exactly. So this has been a very interesting conversation. I don't know if anybody had any question, but when we was on that Zoom, I said, "Girl, come on, let's go ahead and have this Substack."
Okay. Yeah, because you know what? No, there's nothing like the president. It's not all that different from Texas all the way up to Alaska. We're all just folks going through the same shit, and we're all just pissed off and tired, and we want to take our country back.
Yes, absolutely. And so that's why each and every person here have a platform. Hopefully they will call you in for an interview to get you in front of their subscribers to get the word out. That's one of the ways that's why I said, let's go. And I introduce you to people that I know and hopefully you will have some messages in your inbox and people like, come on, let's do a live, okay?
Yep. So you can find me on the Bluebonnet Highway. I'm Liza at the Bluebonnet Highway on Substack, and it's just one voter, one precinct at a time. Because they don't want us to vote, and we're just gonna say, okay, you make it harder, we're still gonna show up.
Okay, I'll make sure to include your links in when I publish the article. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was so good to spend the afternoon with you. Happy Friday, everyone.
Yes, and have a good weekend. Thank you so much. Thank you all. All right, bye-bye.